Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're solving maximize happiness of selected children. So in this problem, we will be given an array happiness of length n and a positive integer k. And there will be n children in a queue, and each child will have a happiness value of I. And we want to select k children from these n children in k turns. And each turn, we can pick any child we want. But each turn where we don't pick a child, the child is not still in the line, will have their happiness level decrease by 1. And we should note that the happiness cannot become negative, and that if it's at 0, it will just stop there and it will not decrement more. And finally, we want to return the maximum sum of the happiness of values of the selected children that we can achieve. So if we look at this example, we can achieve 4 because in the first turn we can pick 3. In the second turn, we will take 2 minus 1 since we didn't pick in the first time. So it's 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. And in this example, the first child, whoever we pick, the rest of the child will have a happiness value of 0. So that's why the answer is 1. So now that we have seen some examples, let's get to how we can solve this problem. The way that we can solve it is we can first sort the array from greatest smallest, and then we would subtract each element by its index for the first k elements. So we can do like 3 minus 0 and then 2 minus 1. And then after you have the first k elements, then you can sum up the elements and then return that as your result. But this method will take all of n log n time because you have to sort this happiness array. And there's actually a more efficient way to solve it, and that is to, instead of sorting the whole array, we can just use a heap instead. And what we will do is we will set up a min heap. We will make all the elements negative since Python's built-in heap structure is a min heap. So we'll make everything negative. And then what we will do is we will iterate k times from 0 to k minus 1. And then with each iteration, we will take the first element and then take that element and subtract with whichever iteration we are on. And then we will pop the element and then move on to the next one and continue until we reach k. So let's go over this example real quick. So first, we set this happiness array into a heap. And now we are at iteration 0. So 3 minus 0 is 3. And by the way, we're going to convert everything to positive when we are iterating. So 3 minus 0 is 3. We add 3 to result, pop it and move to the next one. 2 minus 1 is 1 and add that to result. So now the result is 4. And now that we have iterated k times, we can return 4 as our result. And the time complexity would be O of n plus k log n, where n is the number of elements in happiness and k is the value of k. So this n will come from the fact that heap will take all of n time to form. And this k log n time will come because we're going to iterate k times, and within each k iteration, we have to pop from the heap, and that will take log n time. And the space complexity would be O of n because this heap can take up to n space. So now let's get to the coding part. So first, we will set up the heap. So we will do negative h for h in happiness. And then we will heapify the heap. So now we'll make it a heap. Initialize result to 0. And now we will iterate for I in range k. And then we will add result of the larger number between 0 or the value in the heap minus I. And remember, we will make it negative. So negative of heap pop of heap minus I. And after the for loop, we can return the result. See if it works. Okay, perfect. Hope this was helpful. Thank you all for watching. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I hope to see you all again soon.